Hello everyone, welcome to the answer writing program. So today we will be discussing 3 questions from GS3 agriculture portion, and the topics are issues related to direct and indirect farm subsidies, MSP, PDS, its objectives, functioning, limitations, etc. Second topic would be food processing and related industries in India, scope and its significance, location, upstream and the downstream, requirement and supply chain management. So let's take an overview of all the 3 questions. The first question is related to animal husbandry, second question is related to MSP, and the third question is related to direct and indirect farm subsidies. Let's start with the very first question. So the question is saying that we need to discuss the factors due to which the farmers are transitioning towards the animal husbandry for dependable sources of livelihood and income. So the question is asking about animal husbandry, and it is also giving some context that the share of the crops is reducing and the farmers are transitioning towards animal husbandry. So what are the factors that supports this transition for the farmer's income, for the farmer's livelihood? So what are the factors that why the farmers are taking the transition from majorly crop production to animal husbandry? So for that, in introduction, you can write some definition with respect to the animal husbandry. You can write that it is a branch of the agriculture concerned with the animals that are being raised for meat, milk, food, fiber, honey, etc. plus other products. And also you can use this context that yes, the crops share in the total agricultural GDP is reducing and the livestock shares in agricultural GDP is increasing. Now it is approximately 30% in the agricultural GDP, and livestock total share in the India's GDP is approximately 5% of India's GDP. So with this context, you can start your introduction and moving on to the body part. So the first body part is what are the factors that are being responsible for this transition, so that the farmers are also thinking that this is the dependable source of the livelihood and the income for them. So for that, you can divide your question, you can divide this body part into the various subheads. The first being with respect to the farmers, that what are their vision with respect to why they are taking the transition. Like for them, they got the diversified source of income, they got some stable source of income, etc. With respect to the global market, it means the demand and supply, what are the various factors with respect to that. And third, with respect to the governmental policies, with respect to some technologies and related to the other policies of the government, that how these governmental policies support this transition. That is why the farmers are taking this transition from the crop production to the animal husbandry. So the first is with related to the farmers. For the farmers, this livestock or the animal husbandry provides a stable source of income. Like in the crop production, there are the vagaries of the climate, erratic rainfall, and you know that the India is being like the rain-fed agriculture. Approximately 60% of the people are dependent on this rain-fed agriculture. So this animal husbandry provides the stable source of income, unlike the crop production, which is under the effects or impact of the vagaries of the climate. Next is about diversified source of income. See, the farmers are not taken the complete transition from the crop production to the livestock farming. Instead, they are making their share, some proportion of their income from the animal husbandry. Like approximately 16% of the rural households, small and marginal farmer, they are approximately 16% of their income is coming from the animal husbandry, and rest is from the other sources as well. So yes, for the farmers there is a diversified source of income as well. And next is about the global market. What are the demand and the supply chain with respect to these animal husbandry? See, the market demand is also changing. The consumer preferences are changing. They are demanding more and more the meat, eggs, and these dairy products also. So, other than the crop, the major food from the vegetables and the fruits, they are also demanding eggs, meat, etc. So because the demand is increasing, so that is why the farmers are also supplying according to the increasing demand. Okay. Next is about, due to the impact of the globalization, the farmers market has also expanded. Not only the domestic market but also the globalized market. So they can exploit the benefits what the international global markets are also demanding. So for that their exports are also increasing with respect to these livestock and the animal products. Next is the very important point with respect to the niche market. Now, what is niche products and the niche market? They are the very targets of the specific people, specific category of the people. They demand some specific products. Like you can take an example of A2 Gir cow ghee. Now, this is very expensive. Everybody cannot afford this, but there are some consumers who demand these products. So, if farmers exploit these potentials by studying the demands of the niche market, what exactly some particular category of the consumer demands, and if the farmers can provide them that, yes, then yes, they can easily get the maximum benefits out of their produce. So, the farmers are also recognizing the niche market, they are exploiting the niche market, and they are supplying their products. And yes, the niche market is demanding specific products like A2 Gir cow ghee. They are demanding artisanal cheese, organic like feed which produces some meat. So they are demanding these products. So the farmers are exploiting these markets and selling its product. So because of this, yes, the farmers are taking this transition as the reliable sources of their livelihood, as the reliable sources of their income. Next is about the governmental policies with respect to the technologies. Let's take an example that why this transition is taking place at a faster rate and also very smooth. Why? Because there are the technological advancements that are backing this transition. Like there are the Holstein Friesian breed of the cows are there. They yield the maximum milk. But Indian Sahiwal or the Gir cow, there are the indigenous cows, but they do not yield maximum milk production. So what the technology is doing, what the Indian government is doing, they are making the cross of these two breeds of the cows. Now India has come up with Frieswall, the cross of Holstein Friesian breed and Sahiwal. So increasing the milk production. So if the farmer, if the this animal husbandry who the farmer is doing this, if they are getting the maximum yield out of their milk products also, if they are getting the high milk yield, then why not they take the transition from the crop production to this animal husbandry. So yes, due to the technological advancement, due to efficient feeding mechanism, due to high impactful training programs provided by the government, due to these governmental policies, that is why this transition is taking place. So these are some factors. Next is about the policies. The government is providing the tax incentives, the subsidies, so that they are also wanting the farmers to invest more and more into these agricultural into this agricultural branch, that is the animal husbandry. So these are some products, or these are some aspects. That is why the farmers are taking this transition. This we have already discussed. Yes, the governmental policies or the governmental support, like you can quote some examples like Rashtriya Gokul Mission, PM Matsya Sampada Yojana, Animal Husbandry Infrastructural Developmental Fund, then National Animal Disease Control Program. Okay, so already these we have discussed. Coming on to the conclusion, you can write the summary or the importance that its share in the GDP, in the national GDP, is increasing. So as the other benefits also, like they are making the farmers' income secure, stable, diversified. They are providing the employment for the rural people, like approximately 2/3 of the rural community is also engaged in this animal husbandry sector also. So they are, this is ensuring the food security. So all these aspects are required to achieve doubling the farmers income, the vision of India. Okay, it was already there till 2022, but it's missed. Now we are promptly boosting for this to achieve the same. You can also give that there is a Prime Minister's 7-point action plan to increase the farmers' income, and one point amongst those is that we need to promote the ancillary activities like the poultry, fishes, animal husbandry to increase the farmer income, or to increase or to double the farmers' income. So this is it for the first answer. Let's see the model answer, starting with the definition, then how animal husbandry is the dependable source of the livelihood and the income for the farmers. So these are some points. You need to substantiate your answer with as many examples, as many data as you can in each point. Finally, ending with the conclusion, Ashok Dalwai Committee and doubling the farmers' income, that we need to diversify the farmers' income alongside this crop production. Moving on to the next question. We need to examine the role of MSP in ensuring the farmers' income and food security in India. So this is the first demand. You can merge these both of the point. In this answer, we have divided into two parts, that how MSP helps in ensuring the farmers' income and how MSP helps in ensuring the food security. But as this is a 10-marker question, you can merge these points, because we have the second demand also, that we need to write down the reforms that are needed to make the MSP more effective and equitable for the farmers. So the question is about MSP, that rationale behind MSP for the farmers' income and for the food security of India. And the second point is about the reforms that are being required to make MSP more effective and equitable for the farmers. So this is a very simple question. You can start your introduction with the definition of MSP, that MSP is the market intervention by the central government. It ensures or guarantees the minimum price to the farmers for their farm produce, and also it protects them against the vagaries of the price instability in the market. So this MSP is declared at the start or the initiating period of the sowing season for the notified crops. Approximately there are 23 plus 2 other hours there. So 23 crops are there for the MSP, and this is what you can write in the introduction. Okay. Moving on to the body part, we need to write down the role of MSP in ensuring the farmers' income in India, that how it ensures the farmer income, because the MSP is declared at the beginning of the sowing season on the basis of the recommendation of the CACP. So how it helps in the ensuring the farmers' income, because now MSP is being declared that this is the minimum price that the government will procure from the farmer. Let's suppose for rice, like each quintal or each ton of the rice will be procured by the government at this minimum price. So now the government has declared the minimum price for this particular commodity. Now this particular commodity cannot be sold in the market below this price. Means it is the very minimum price that is being declared in the market, that if private player wants to buy this commodity or this product, this goods from the farmer, they have to pay this minimum price. So it ensures or it protects the farmer from the price fluctuation. It prevents the farmer to distress sale. It prevents the farmer from selling its products in the distressed rates. So it is also acting as a benchmark for the private player, that how it helps in prevention from the price fluctuation, because it is giving the fixed income. See, if there is any unseen circumstance in the market, like if there are the prices fluctuation, if the supply of the wheat or the rice is so much that the price reduces to rupees 2 per kg or 4 rupees per kg. But after this MSP, this cannot happen, because the government is saying that this cannot be sold in the market below this price. So they have the option to sell it at MSP or higher than MSP. So it protects the farmer from the distress sale. Next is about, because this is being declared at the before the sowing season only, so it helps the farmer to take their prior or the pre-informed decision. So now the farmer knows that if I'll sow this product, I'll get this much money. So if the farmer have the benefit in any other product, like if he has explored some niche market for other products, then he can go along with that. Otherwise, he do not have any option. So he can also produce this MSP on the notified products. He can sow that products also. And also, it helps in diversification of the crops. How? Because it encourages the farmers through the MSP announcement that yes, if you sow this product, you will be selling this product at this much price. So the farmer has the surety that okay, if I'll sow this product, I'll get this much amount. If I'll sow this product, I'll get this much amount. So the farmer on the, like whatever the MSP is higher on some products, then farmer can sow those goods in their farms. So these are the role in ensuring the farmer's income in India. Next is about how MSP helps in ensuring the food security in India. Because via MSP, government is putting the focus, like it has started from the green revolution, that we need the food security. So we need to enhance the food production, and it could be secured by the wheat and rice production. So what government has done, government has started giving high subsidy on the high MSP rates for this wheat and rice. Now what happens if the government is providing high rates for this? So the farmer also feel very much incentivized that if I'll sow these products, I'll get maximum benefits. And via these farmers incentives also, and this also ensures the food production, whatever is required food production for this rice and wheat for ensuring the food security of India, this MSP ensuring this. Okay, so it encourages the production, incentivize the farmer so as to educate, so as to get the adequate production of these staple food grains. Next is about, it addresses the supply shortage. Like for any season, if the government thinks that we have the less supply in the next season for rice, so what government do? Government will put the more focus on rice so that the farmers will sow more paddy crops. And also government can increase the MSP for the millets, for the cereals, so as to boost the high nutrition quantity or the nutritional quality in India. Next is about the risk mitigation. So this MSP also acts as a risk mitigation tool. It assures the farmer that he will get the minimum price in the unfavorable circumstances also. So he will sow those produces or sow that commodity on their farms, thus ensuring the production of those crops. Next is about public food program. MSP plays a very important role in PDS system, in National Food Security Act, in ICDS. So the government procurement, whatever the government procures at MSP, so this help in ensuring the food security through these programs. So if MSP is there, government can ensure the supply of goods, of the produce of rice, wheat, paddy, and the cereals and the millets, etc., to provide food under these schemes. So what are these schemes? These schemes ensuring food security and nutritional security. Okay, moving on to the next body part, that is the reforms we need to take MSP to make MSP more effective and equitable. So what we can do? For that, we need to understand what are the challenges with respect to MSP. See, MSP has three major challenges with respect to the farmers, with respect to the crops, with respect to the regions. There are not the inclusive procurement with respect to the farmers, with respect to the crops, with respect to the regions. Like how the maximum benefits of the MSP is being grabbed by the large farmers. So the small and the marginal farmers are out of this, taking the fruits of the benefits of MSP. And also crops. With respect to the crops, procurement at MSP is very less with respect to the number of crops, and this has distorted the cropping pattern also. And region wise, again, Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh and Maharashtra, these are the major beneficiaries of this procurement region wise. So we have the issues with respect to the farmers inclusivity, with respect to the crop inclusivity, with respect to the regions inclusivity. So we need to make reforms in these sectors first. So we need to make it inclusive, that we need to make the awareness or the information to the last or the lowest level of the people also, so that they can also taste the benefits or the fruits of the MSP. With respect to the crops, we need to increase the number of the crops under the ambit of MSP, so that the crops diversification would be there, so that the monoculture pattern would not distort the land and the water resources. And also we need to make the inclusivity with respect to the areas or the region. We need to include all the regions of India, so that to make it more inclusive, more sustainable. So we need to increase its coverage. We need to notify more crops under MSP. This we have already discussed over here. Next is about we need to provide them the legal status, so that it is mandatory to procure whatever the crops that are being notified, and it would be the right of the farmer to sell their produce to the government. Next is about the rationalization of MSP, like how we can reform the MSP by rationalizing it, so that to make it more target based, leakages of the MSP subsidies etc. should not be there. And also this MSP is not very sufficient for the farmers, so for that we can implement the Swaminathan Commission recommendation for that. Okay, moving on to the conclusion, what we can write? We can write that we need to empower our farmers and also to ensure the food security. What we can do? We can ensure the timely payment for this MSP to the farmers. We need to promote the decentralized procurement, and for that government has come up with the great grain storage plan in the cooperative sector. So do read about this, what is grain storage plan in the cooperative sector. And remove open-ended procurement operations. We need to also come up with some alternative mechanism for this MSP under the government has given some models under PM Asha scheme. So this you can write in the conclusion. Moving on to the model answers, starting with the definition of MSP, then role of MSP in ensuring the farmer's income, in ensuring the food security, then some reforms, then ending with the conclusion. Moving on to the third question, we need to highlight the difference between direct and indirect farm subsidies. So this would be the demand 1. We need to suggest some policy measures to improve the effectiveness and efficiency of agricultural subsidy regime. So this is demand 2. Again, this is a 10-marker question and 150 words you have to write within. So starting with the introduction, you can define what is subsidy. So what is subsidy? Subsidy is a type of the financial assistance paid to an economic sector, being it an individual, business or some institution, to achieve certain policy objective. Okay, so these subsidies can be divided into the two parts, like direct subsidy and indirect subsidy. And you can also write some other facts as well, that how much India is giving percentage of the GDP in subsidy. You can write these data as well, like how much agricultural GDP share is in the India's total GDP, and you can also write about the farm subsidies in the total agricultural GDP. Okay, so with all these data, and also you can write that central government and the state government provide their additional subsidies on some farm produces as well. Moving on to the first body part, we need to highlight the differences between the direct and the indirect subsidies. with the direct subsidies that are direct in nature, that directly benefits the farmer, like the cash payment to the individuals, groups or the industries. You can give some example, that PM Kisan Samman Nidhi, in which the 6,000 is being given to the farmer directly. Next is about the indirect subsidies, that it has the major impact in the distortion of the market. Like these indirect subsidies are the some discounts. Why we are giving the discounts? To lower the price of the commodity for the farmer. It means it involves the third party. Okay, like the input subsidy, MSP, interest subvention, means they are conditional in nature. In this, there are no conditions. The government will directly give you some amount of money wherever you feel so, with respect to the increasing the productivity of your farm. Whatever you require for that particular cash amount, you can use it there. So this is the direct subsidy. This is indirect subsidy. Next is about what are the issues in Indian agricultural subsidy regime. The very first issue is the lack of targeting, and there are the exclusionary errors, and there are also the inclusionary errors of the unwanted people, and exclusionary error of whosoever demanding or needing that subsidies, but they are not included in the list. So there are the lack of targeting. Like you can give example that the fertilizer subsidies benefit the wealthier farmers more. Same you can write the MSP. MSP benefits the rich farmer more. Mainly MSP benefits the Punjab, Haryana, Maharashtra and Western Uttar Pradesh farmers more. Others though do not have the information also sometimes that something is related, MSP is there in the market. Next is about inequitable distribution. As we have seen in the previous example as well, that there are some distortions by the government side also. Like if we provide the high MSP for wheat and rice only, then these subsidy concentration is in few products, for few farmers and for few regions only. So this is the inequitable distribution of the subsidy amount. So this distorts the cropping pattern. Let's take an example of MSP. If MSP is higher for the wheat and rice, then it benefits the farmer for these particular crops only. So the farmer will indulge into the monocropping, monoculture of either wheat or rice. Okay, and will neglect the cereals, the nutritional products like the millets, etc. So this hampers the land and the water resources, and also it perpetuates the regional disparities as well. Okay. Next is about environmentally unsustainable. Again, if we are giving subsidies like for the electricity, then the farmers are exploiting or overusing the groundwater. Farmers are using the unregulated supply of fertilizers in their farms, reducing the soil health, distorting the crop patterns, over-exploiting the water resources, depleting the top layer of the soil, and increasing more and more soil erosion, thus hampering the environment or doing the environmental degradation. Next is about, if we are putting more and more money into the agricultural subsidies, then it is doing at the cost of the capital expenditure in the agriculture sector. So we have seen in the last 2-3 classes also that we need to put more and more focus on the capital expenditure instead of the revenue expenditure, because the capital expenditure has the multiplier effect of 2.45 approximately. So we are providing the high subsidies at the cost of the public investment in the agriculture. So you can put some data that agricultural subsidies are like part of approximately 8.2% of the agricultural GDP, thus reducing the public investment in the agriculture sector, and its share is approximately only 2% of the agricultural GDP. Okay, moving on to the next part. What measures we can take to improve the agriculture subsidy regime? The very first thing is about the rationalization. We need to periodically evaluate that where to exclude, where to include, which crops to include, how it is distorting the pattern, like how we need to rationalize and making it more target based. Next is about the better targeting. Next is about e-rupee implementation. That could be the person and the purpose specific, like it is like a token, like in the IT sector or wherever the companies, if you are working, then you might have known about the Sodexo coupon. So that you have the Sodexo coupon, you can use it anywhere where these are being accepted to get the food for yourself. So here it is the same funda, like you have some coupon in your hand, and it can be the person and the purpose specific, that you can get yourself some fertilizer, and you can get some like subsidy from like irrigation. These coupons would be there. So it is more targeted and the purpose based. Next is about, we need to increase the capital expenditure or the public investment in the agriculture sector, so as to make some structural reforms, and also to increase the agricultural output, so that their share in the Indian economy or India's GDP would increase. So we need to utilize our saving from the subsidy rationalization for the agricultural infrastructure development. Moving on to the conclusion, you can write some way forward that could be more reformative, what more reforms we need to do in the agriculture sector, that we need to come up with some structural reforms instead of just putting it into the revenue expenditure into the agriculture sector. So we need to first focus more towards the direct subsidies instead of the indirect subsidies. Then we need to address the structural reforms like the fragmented land holding, access to the markets. Alone subsidizing our food products or the giving the subsidies to the farmer will not result into the high productivity from the farm sector. Next, you can also write about Dalwai panel recommendation, that we need to emphasize on the broader agricultural sectoral reforms. Also, you can write some governmental initiative that we need to implement some comprehensive reforms alongside the subsidy adjustments to make agriculture sector more beneficial and more profitable. Moving on to the model answer, starting with the definition, then the difference, then issues in the Indian agriculture subsidy regime, finally some reforms or the measures to improve, then in 2 to 3 lines some conclusion. Okay, so this was it from my side. Thank you and have a nice day, and keep writing.